This is Sarnia Lambton Daily for Wednesday, April 22nd. Good evening, I'm Terry Doyle. The number of people who have recovered from COVID-19 in Sarnia Lambton went up overnight, more than the number of positive cases of the virus. There are now 150 positive cases of COVID-19 in the region, up 2 from Tuesday's reporting. But the number of people who have recovered has gone up by 8, now sitting at 62. That means more than 40% of the people who have tested positive are now considered recovered. Many levels of government are talking about lifting restrictions. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Sadiq Ranade gives his outlook locally.
It's important to remember that these decisions are not really directed locally. Right? All of these orders, the public health measures that we're trying to do consistently across the province are really done at the provincial and federal level. So what is happening is that the federal government is putting together a plan that might enable provinces to have a coordinated approach to changing the level of restrictions. And then it would be up to provinces to sort of look at that and say, does that make sense for them? Is that the way they're going to go? And then provinces will have to have their own action plans about how do we move out of this and in what order or how do we lift restrictions? What are the decision thresholds for us to consider putting back in place some of the restrictions or to maintain the whatever conditions we go to. So it's hard for me to tell you that there are local numbers that we would look at to make those decisions. But in principle, what you're looking for is a flattening of the curve, plus the ability to make sure that you can test people who have mild symptoms, so that if you can isolate disease quickly and isolate people around a person who has disease, that you might be able to keep it in check over time. So it's really important that as we think about lifting restrictions, that nobody thinks that this is just going to go away once we do that. There's sort of an ongoing management plan that needs to be in place.
One of the areas that will help moving forward is increased testing, including testing everyone in long-term care facilities.
There's some provincial direction to do it across the province, and probably a lot of that is stemming from things that they've seen in places like Quebec, and they want to get a handle on sort of what's the baseline level of COVID-19 in all of the different homes. And the one caution really that I just pointed out the other day that I want to reiterate is that one of the things that happens when you test all sorts of people in places like this is that many, or in fact most of those people, will not have any symptoms at the time that they get tested. And so if you receive a lot of negative results from a facility to say, oh, everybody's negative, it's important not to be unduly reassured by those negatives, because some of those people could still be incubating disease but not be producing virus, so the test would not pick it up.
Well, one of the things we've seen throughout this pandemic is people helping their neighbors, their friends, wanting to help their community. And we've seen that throughout Sarnia Lambton. And Kathy Alexander, Executive Director of Bluewater Health Foundation, joins us now. And Kathy, when you and I last spoke, you had just launched the COVID-19 fund with the foundation. And needless to say, I think the community has really stepped up to help.
Oh, they sure have, Terry. We are just so blown away by the incredible generosity of the Sarnia Lambton community. And, it's been just over, well, we launched March 30th, and in less than 3 weeks, we've actually raised in excess of $250,000 for Bluewater Health in its fight against COVID-19. And so much of that, well, all of that is actually possible because of the incredible, kind, and generous people that call Sarnia Lambton home. So we are so thankful and so appreciative to people who have really stepped up and helped us.
And I'm sure while we see sometimes the announcements and different organizations announcing big donations, I've got to think it's also those individual, those grassroots, just that average person deciding they want to make a contribution, whether it's $20, $200. I know you track all these things, and I've got to think the number of individual donors is pretty high right now.
Oh, it's really high, and it's wonderful to see. And every person's gift truly does make a difference. So one person's $10 could be their $100, or one person's $100 could be their $1,000 gift. And all of those gifts combined have such an impact on the work that we do at Bluewater Health and our ability to care for patients and staff at Bluewater Health. And I think what's really, really special about this fund is that it also comes with it the ability for donors to share messages of appreciation and gratitude. And we then in turn get to share those with the workers at Bluewater Health and let them know how many people in this community are rallying behind them, rooting for them, praying for them, just so appreciative that they're going each and every day to care for folks. And The appreciation is overwhelming. The stories are wonderful and heartwarming. And like you said, it's, you know, a combination of incredible business and industry support, and also those individual folks that have just really opened up their hearts to say, this is how I want to give back, and say thank you.
Are you a little almost amazed when you consider, as you said, this is about 3 weeks into this in terms of the actual fundraiser, where, you know, the amount that would come in is normally in the area where, like the dream home lotteries and things like that, where these are things that take so much, but just the way people mobilize so quickly, I've got to think it's rewarding, but a little, you know, surprising, but surprising in the positive level.
I would say yes, absolutely, and overwhelming at times you know, this remarkable gratitude that people feel. And I have this tremendous privilege of being able to connect with donors and business leaders and so many different people that call Sarnia Lambton home. And like I said earlier, people just really want to be a part of this. I think that that's a natural reaction, is how can I help? How can I, you know, I can't go in and care for a patient, so how can I make a difference? And what's also really special is, in addition to these cash donations that we've been very gratefully receiving, you know, our staff are being appreciated and thanked by so many local businesses, restaurants. Adele in my office is actually on a regular basis delivering food from local businesses, again, just treats and meals, and continued gratitude from people. And again, those come with those messages saying, you know what, I can't do what you do, but I can give you a delicious meal to say thank you, or I can contribute a homemade mask for patients to wear, or I can donate some N95 masks to the fight. And it's just been, you know, it has been surprising, but not that surprising. Sarnia Lambton truly is, I've said this before, and I know I'll say it again, that the most generous community that I've actually ever been a part of. And this isn't where I grew up, and but when I moved here, you really feel something special and different about Sarnia Lambton, and people always coming together. And I think, you know, Terry, we've talked about this before. There are so many important and remarkable charitable organizations in this community that are also experiencing the generosity right now of people really coming together to help other people. Lots of people are struggling right now. Lots of people are going to struggle, and lots of people are going to continue to need help. And philanthropy really has that ability to bring people together. And again, from a magnitude of a $10 gift to a $10,000 gift, to a donation of meals, or you know, food delivery to the food banks, I think it's really remarkable, and we're just so appreciative to the people in this community at this time. It's really special to be a part of it.
Kathy, where do we go forward from here in terms of the fundraise in these last few weeks for helping Bluewater Health?
So the fundraising always continues each and every day. Bluewater Health Foundation is actually out there raising money for Bluewater Health. So the funds that we raise through the COVID fund are really crucial and important as we're dealing with things that maybe we weren't expecting to deal with, in terms of equipment purchases or hotel accommodations for staff, or the purchase of technology to keep families and patients connected. But we're going to continue. We're actually really excited that we've actually just partnered with a number of hospital foundations across the country to be a part of a frontline fund that will continue to bring awareness of the importance of the role of philanthropy and hospital foundations and what they are able to do collectively. And there'll be some, you know, national exposure in terms of messaging, and that will also ultimately result in some more funds coming back to our community hospital. And I think that, you know, like I said, we're just going to continue to do what we do. My staff is remarkable. They're all working remotely behind the scenes, taking on roles that are not traditional fundraising roles, and doing it with, you know, such they're just amazing. So I really want to give a shout out to my small but mighty team that are just working a lot of extra and flexible hours to respond to the needs of our community. But we're going to keep going. We're asking people who are able to give to consider giving to the COVID fund through our website, bwhf.ca. And we really, really encourage those folks that are giving to please share those messages, because we then, like I said earlier, we get to share those messages back to the people that are protecting us and caring for us. And it's wonderful to see their responses and their reactions. Oftentimes people that I come in contact with that work at Bluewater Health will say, oh, it's just my job. It's, you know, it's not a big deal. This is, no, these people are healthcare, they're heroes. And from the front line to the back of the house, to the maintenance, to the housekeeping, to our MDR department. They are all just so remarkable. They're working tirelessly to make sure that our community is safe, and we're just so grateful to them. And when we get to share back these messages of appreciation and gratitude, I think it really does make a difference.
Very well said. You mentioned about working with other hospital foundations, and I understand as this moves forward over the next even 24 to 48 hours, where we're going to see Bluewater Health, playing in the sandbox with the big Toronto Hospital Foundation as well, where everyone's really coming together here.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable gesture when some of the big hospital foundations come together, and they created this frontline fund, and they put out a request to other hospital foundations that fit a certain criteria. And we're members of some shared associations and colleagues, and it's actually an honor and a privilege for Bluewater Health Foundation and myself to be a part of this frontline fund with the likes of Sick Kids and Toronto General and Princess Margaret, and not just the Toronto big ones, but all across the country. And we've had some significant gifts that will lead that fund coming forward, and the sharing and the collaboration, and really the end messages that we want to support our hospitals. That is why foundations exist. Our role is to enhance the care of our hospitals, and we do that through fundraising and philanthropy, and it's exciting to be a part of it. There's going to be some really great media, national media, marketing, and telling the story of why hospital foundations are vital to the healthcare system across our province and our country. We're truly grateful to be a part of it, and we're also really, in Canada, we're so fortunate and we're so blessed that we have the healthcare that we have. But really, it is the role of philanthropy to enhance the quality of what we have, purchase the much needed equipment. Government really funds the day-to-day operations, and we're again so grateful that we have that healthcare system here in Canada. But philanthropy really raises the bar, and Sarnia Lambton is a community that is just always ready, willing, and able to help us raise the bar and be successful. So we're really excited to be a part of this national initiative, working together with some of the big players, and then some other smaller ones like us. So it's really exciting.
Finally, how did things go last weekend on Saturday at Clearwater Arena with the personal protective equipment drive?
It was great. The foundation is actually, prior to the community drive, we had been working one-on-one with business and industry vets, hairstylists, anyone that had that additional PPE. We were working with them. Industry partners were great in coming to the table, and we were able to secure quite a bit of PPE for Bluewater Health. But throughout that, we were starting to see some other communities, through the likes of Ryan Reynolds and Haley Wickenheiser, launching these incredible PPE drives that weren't just helping hospitals, but also helping other frontline care providers across the community. So, for example, nursing homes, long-term care homes, and our community hospice. So we're working right now to inventory the items that came in. We had over 70,000 items donated on Saturday, and I really need to give accolades to the city of Sarnia, who we pitched an idea, and they really just said, we're here to help and we're willing to help. So working with other community groups in the hospital to decide and distribute how those additional pieces of PPE get to the frontline workers, not just at Bluewater Health, but those much needed organizations in the community, Sarnia Lambton wide. So again, grateful to people just coming out, and we had this pickup. I felt like I was working at Canadian Tire. You go, you drive up, and the curbside delivery is the new way of doing things right now, and we were able to do that. And the city of Sarnia again gave us some staff for the day, and some of my team came out for the day as well with us, and it was fun. We had a good day, and from social distancing perspective, it was nice to be in contact with people and have conversations and chat and get to know one another while we were collecting this much needed PPE. So that was it was great. It was a good success.
Well, Kathy, certainly we know things are busy. Appreciate the time. Keep up the great work and pass along our best wishes to everyone there, and we'll catch up again soon.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Take care.
There's Kathy Alexander, Executive Director of Bluewater Health Foundation. More to come on Sarnia Lambton Daily on your TV. Welcome back to Sarnia Lambton Daily. Well, we know eSports has been a thing for a while now, but I think even ramping up more due to the pandemic, people staying home and can still do their thing and connect with people electronically. Let's go over to the coordinator of the eSports program at Lambton College. Tony Frangis joins us now. And Tony, indeed, I've got to think that eSports and online gaming has never been bigger, I would think, right now, because people are at home. This is their outlet in a lot of cases.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. The online element of esports is able to continue pretty much without any pause to it, just because a lot of the time, competitors, even in the professional scene, will play at home. The big thing that suffered is the major in-person events, all of those major tournaments that, like our varsity team at Lambton College would have attended over the next month or so. Obviously, those are long gone right now. So the industry itself, it has taken a hit, but not in the same capacity, obviously, that traditional sports has, because they've essentially come to a pause. But esports, at least in some iteration, is able to keep going.
And have you found too that in some cases it's being transferred, whereas indeed those in-person events are gone, but maybe we're seeing more? I've seen, for example, Mitch Marner of the Leafs has been doing a lot of stuff playing with Call of Duty and getting people watching that and donating to his stream there through Twitch. Have you found that that is sort of ramped up even more?
Oh, by a lot. Yeah, by not a close margin. It's cool to see professional athletes have kind of taken a liking to esports even further. One of my favorite things to watch right now, anyway, it's not really esports, but PK Subban and his hat trick trivia. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's been a regular thing. NASCAR has embraced it in a way that I never thought they would jump on with their iRacing series too. So I mean, you're seeing it basically everywhere. FIFA and NBA and NHL to a lesser extent, they had been all over it for a very long time. But to see the rest of the sports world kind of coming together through esports is really cool to see.
The one that I've had a chance to check out a little bit, being a baseball guy, is the MLB, where they've had one player from every Major League Baseball team playing their game as their team, playing against the other guys, and basically a 30-team round robin and playoffs, and they're live streaming it and interacting. I've got to think that's got to be a nice way too, Tony, to see sort of the personalities of some of the athletes coming out.
You see a lot more of that for sure, yeah. And one of my favorite things to kind of watch too has been what the Phoenix Suns have been doing in the NBA, is basically playing out their schedule, all of the games that they missed, through NBA 2K. So in some form, we still have some live basketball and some live sports, but you and I talked about it before we got started, and it's just not the same, but it's something at least, yeah.
Now, locally, Lambton College, tell us first of all, and we'll get into the event coming up here this weekend, but just tell us, the esports program, how it's evolved over the last couple of years.
It's been cool to see. We finally have our first, actually, I think just the last day of, their final exams was today, our first graduating class of the esports entrepreneurship and administration program. And when those guys started 2 years ago, the industry was, smaller than it is now. I mean, you're seeing the esports industry evolve. I mean, even through this, I mean, we just talked about the whole NASCAR thing. I mean, the whole iRacing series, that didn't exist when these guys started. But as they go along, more and more job opportunities are being created. And we at Lambton College here are trying to continue to network with some of those industry partners and create more partnerships too, to help those guys get some gainful career opportunities when they graduate.
Now, you said the industry is growing. What are we seeing in terms of where the graduates from the program, you talk about entrepreneurship, administration, what sort of areas are you finding where there are jobs opening and future jobs potentially opening?
Oh, just about everything, really. You see a lot of, unfortunately, it's taken a hit right now. Event management definitely is one of the big things that the program will focus on. I mean, there's a wealth of opportunities that will be there when the world essentially opens up again. But in the meantime, I mean, you have tournament management, and we focus on the entrepreneurship side as well. And a couple of students and their capstone projects, I mean, are taking off already, and they're planning to continue them and basically try to make those their careers too, which is really cool to see. But besides that, I mean, you're seeing more and more professional and semi-professional esports organizations open up, and because of that, I mean, more and more opportunities with everything, content creation for streaming and marketing and promotions, merchandising, all kinds of stuff. I mean, think of like the traditional sports industry and all of those jobs that would be there. Esports isn't far off from that.
And I guess we're also seeing, and it's the top level, but there are people who are being paid pretty significant amounts of money for people to watch them play, like through Twitch, for example, and people subscribing to their channels and making donations. There's money coming in. There's people basically turning that into a career.
There's revenue streams there for sure. Yeah, I mean, Ninja is, arguably one of those popular streamers in the world, and I don't know how many gajillions of dollars he makes every day, but it's a lot of money anyway. I mean, the guy, he's able to make 7-8 figures every year. That's obviously not going to be the case most of the time, but there are definitely career opportunities just for doing that by flicking on the webcam and playing some of the world's most popular games. And if you have a personality and you have, some skill with that too, then there's definitely a wealth of opportunity to make a long-lasting career out of it.
Tony, speaking of one of the world's most popular games over the last few years, the eSports program, you're doing an event coming up this Friday and turning it into an event for a good cause as well. Give us a little background on that.
Sure. So Win for the Inn is the name of the event. It's in support of the Inn of the Good Shepherd, and it's going to take place this Friday. And yes, on the subject of one of the world's most popular video games, Fortnite has been for a couple of years now. So just to give a quick background, back last summer, we started a weekly event at the eSports arena at Lambton College called Fortnite Fridays. And the kids would come, ages 8 to 13, play Fortnite. We'd do a little mini tournament with them. We'd give them some pizza, hand out some prizes. And when we closed up, obviously those events had to subside, but we got thinking. We had a staff meeting 3-4 weeks ago where we said, is there a way to do a fundraiser of some kind, because there's a lot of need in the community right now. And we thought, well, maybe there's a way to do a virtual version of our Fortnite Fridays that we do. So that's where Win for the Inn came from. So to give you the premise, you can play it's essentially geared towards kids. We have a lot of kids signing up, which is awesome. Play Fortnite. Every time you get a victory royale, it's called, in the battle royal mode, just tag us on social media with a picture of it, and the person who does that the most at the end of the day will get a $100 gift card of their choice. And then everybody who participates is going to go in the draw for, I think we have 4 different additional prizes there on top of that too. So even if you just sign up for the event and you don't play at all, you'll still be in the draw for a chance to win something. But $10 to register, and all 10 of those $10 are going to go to the Inn of the Good Shepherd at the end.
That's great to hear. How do people sign up?
You can go to our website, lambtonesports.ca/win for the inn. It's also on our events page too at lambtonesports.ca.
Why did Fortnite take off so much, do you think?
I think at the time, you didn't see a ton of battle royal games. I mean, there were some. I'm just saying there wasn't, a crazy amount of them. But I think what made the game different was, one, it was geared closer to a younger demographic, more so geared towards children. And the other thing is how immersive the world is and how customizable it is, and just all the different things you can do with it. Like, you can take apart trees, you can build buildings right in front of it, because you look at most video games, it's either a pew pew shoot 'em up game sort of thing, or it's something a little more creative. And this kind of merged the two of them. And I think one of the things that helped, and what was certainly popular with parents, was it was free. It was free to play, right? You didn't have to go buy a $400 console and then a $90 game to do it. If you had the console or you had the computer, you could just play for free. They make their money off of you buying skins so you can customize your characters and weapons and things like that. But I think that's kind of what made it as popular as it was.
Well, Tony, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck with the event this weekend, this coming Friday, of course, and people, you can check out the website to get in. Tony, stay safe. Good to see you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Likewise, Terry. Be well. Thank you.
There's Tony Frangis, the eSports coordinator at Lambton College. More to come on Sarnia Lambton Daily on your TV. Recapping our top story here on Sarnia Lambton Daily, the number of people who have recovered from COVID-19 has surpassed 40% of all positive cases diagnosed in the region. Local officials are asking everyone to continue physical distancing measures and follow restrictions to keep the numbers going in the right direction. That will do it for our show tonight. For all of us here at Your TV, I'm Terry Doyle. We will see you tomorrow.